Well, the announcement's been broadly welcomed by the cycling community. Let's talk to Peter Silburn from the Norwich Cycling Campaign. Morning, Peter.
Good morning, Chris. Thank you for inviting me.
Nice to have you on the programme. The idea, that the basis of these changes are to protect those that are most vulnerable on our roads, pedestrians, cyclists, horse riders. Are you pleased with what you're seeing now?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the Norwich Cycling Campaign very much welcomes these changes. As you say, it's really all about just keeping the most vulnerable road users safe. They're not huge changes, really. It's really just about formalising basic courteous behaviour and kind of codifying good practice that any considerate road user would probably already be following. As I think I just heard, there's actually 49 or 50 changes, individual changes, if you count them. But if I can just sort of summarise perhaps four of the most significant ones. The first one is the hierarchy of road users. Now, this is a really simple idea, but has quite a profound effect, and it's kind of an overarching principle that kind of ripples through many of the other changes. So that's just stating that those road users who are most at risk are at the top of the hierarchy, so that's pedestrians and cyclists, whereas those road users who are actually causing the most danger, most risk, are at the bottom of the hierarchy. So the upshot of that really is that those in charge of vehicles that can cause them the greatest harm bear the greatest responsibility to take care and reduce the danger they pose to others.
But it depends on everybody buying into that, doesn't it? Because if you're out on the roads tomorrow and the highway code has changed, if you've got a driver who hasn't read the highway code and is still driving the same way they were, that's not going to protect you, is it? So it relies on everybody knowing about this and agreeing with it and buying into it.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, one of the first principles that the Highway Code mentions at the beginning is that it's important that all road users are aware of the Highway Code. And yes, I mean, one aspect here is it is disappointing that the government hasn't commissioned a public awareness campaign. That is disappointing. So this is a problem that really needs to be addressed. So looking at some of the other changes, as I think you heard, turning left, again, this is kind of just clarifying the situation that if where there's a side road and you're a motorist or indeed a cyclist on the main road, when you turn left into the side road, you need to give priority to anyone crossing the road or going straight ahead, whether that's a pedestrian or a cyclist on a zebra or a parallel crossing, or indeed a cyclist in a cycle lane. I mean, that's one of the most significant changes here as we build more and more cycle lanes, that if you're a motorist on a road where there's a cyclist either in a cycle lane or on the left, you're turning left into a side road, you need to be looking out for cyclists and indeed pedestrians crossing the road and just give way to them. So again, it's just kind of codifying really good behaviour that any kind of considerate road user would already be following.
How safe do you feel when you're out on your bike at the moment, Peter, in Norfolk?
Well, I think as any regular cyclist will know, you do need to be alert. I mean, coming back to the hierarchy of road users, the biggest danger is lorries, cars and vans, motorised traffic. So these changes go some way into addressing that, and as you say, protecting the most vulnerable road users.
Yeah, and you've got a situation as well where it might take a little while for these changes to sink in, haven't you? That's another thing. Yes, they change officially from tomorrow, but whether we're doing our best this morning to bring it to everyone's awareness, but maybe people won't be to begin with. But you're right, actually, that shouldn't matter, because a lot of this is just down to courtesy, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. As I say, there's a bit of a worry that people aren't aware of it, and it is good that programs such as this is drawing attention to it. If I can think of a similar situation where there was a change that went in quite recently, that there wasn't an awareness campaign. It was when the introduction of parallel crossings came in. So if you're not aware of that, that's where on a zebra crossing you can have a section next to it for cyclists to cross. Now, this was introduced a few years ago. Now, I remember the first time I encountered one of these in London. I tried to cross on my bike, and I don't think any of the drivers gave way to me because they weren't aware of it. But we have quite a lot of these in Norwich and more going in. And I do find when I cross on my bike, the motorists give way just as much as when I'm a pedestrian crossing on the zebra. So the changes does take a while for people to be aware of the changes, but I think eventually people will adjust to that, as with any change. But yeah, it's a shame that there isn't a more widespread national campaign of awareness about these changes.
Well, good to talk to you, Peter. Thanks for coming on. Peter Silburn there from the Norwich Cycling Campaign.